This is the second Aliyah for the Torah portion of the first day of Rosh Hashanah, and it's found in Genesis chapter 21, verses 5 through 8. It says in the English, "And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, 'God has made joy for me. Whoever hears will rejoice over me.' And she said, 'Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne a son to his old age.' And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned." So I wanted to go ahead and go over the sixth verse, actually, in this Torah portion. In the Hebrew, it says, Vatomer. Vatomer is, and she said, Vatomer, Sarah, Tsechok, so which is laughter, or here it's translated as joy, laughter or joy. Asa has made, li, for me, Elohim, God. So God has made joy for me, or made laughter for me. Kol, all or everyone. Hashomea, who hears, or who is caused to hear. Yitzhak li, will laugh with me, or will rejoice with me. And so the Midrash Rabbah has a beautiful interpretation of this. So, when I first read it, I thought, oh, that means that anyone who hears this story is just going to think that this is a funny, crazy story because, a really old woman gave birth to a child. But no, it's even deeper than that. The sages say in Genesis Rabbah that what this means is that that many women will experience basically the same miracle that Sarah experienced. They will give birth when they thought they were barren. They will have children when they thought that they couldn't have children. And that's why they will rejoice with Sarah. That's why they will laugh with her, because the miracle will apply to them also. And when I think about it, that's so true. When we read the words of the Torah, when we read the words of the Bible, we're actually seeing how God works with his people, how God works with humanity, how God works with Israel. And when we see how God works with the people of the Bible, as imperfect as Israel is and was, we're no different. And we see that God is so powerful, and that if we come to him in prayer and with emunah, with faith, he can also answer our prayers. He can also help us cross that ocean, that river, climb that mountain. He can give us a child even though the doctors say that we are barren. He can heal us even if people say that we are incurable. Anything that we see in the Bible, it means that God can do that. And we have to pray, and we have to seek after him in faith. And I know that's a very short message, but I thought that was a beautiful and powerful message that we can get from this second Aliyah, from this Torah portion. So it's such a short Torah portion, but it's so deep and so rich and just so amazing and so powerful, the promises of the Bible that we can see even in this small, seemingly insignificant verse. This is the third Aliyah for the first day of Rosh Hashanah's Torah reading, and it's found in Genesis chapter 21, verses 9 through 12. And we have some really heavy things in here. I'll read it in English first. It says, And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, making merry. And Sarah said to Abraham, Drive out this handmaid and her son, for the son of this handmaid shall not inherit with my son, with Isaac. But the matter greatly displeased Abraham concerning his son. And God said to Abraham, Be not displeased concerning the lad, and concerning your handmaid. Whatever Sarah tells you, hearken to her voice, for in Isaac will be called your seed. Okay, so now this seems like a very strange story because, in this first verse, it seems like it's saying that these two brothers, right, Hagar's son and Sarah's son, were having fun together, right? We're laughing, and then it seems as if Sarah is mad about this. I mean, like, what does she want instead? Does she want them to fight with each other? Would she prefer that these brothers hate each other? I mean, after all, wasn't it Sarah's idea in the first place for Hagar to give birth to Abraham's son when she herself, lacked the faith that um, that 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 she could have children, even though God promised that she would. So it seems like it would be natural for Abraham to become displeased at this, but yet God says to Abraham, don't be displeased about what basically Sarah's telling you to do, which is to drive out Hagar and her son, which seems just so cruel, right? These two brothers. I mean, why now? Why now that they're having fun? Should they be driven out? Um, and of course, God says, whatever Sarah tells you to do, listen to her, because in Isaac will be called your seed. I mean, couldn't he just say, Isaac, make sure that Isaac gets the inheritance, make sure that Isaac gets the blessing. But don't displace Ishmael, right? God could have said that very easily. Well, the Midrash Rabbah says that this story explains that Sarah had greater prophecy than Abraham did. Sarah could understand and intuit the future a little bit better than Abraham could. So she knew that this was necessary. And when God said to Abraham, listen to her voice, he was really saying, listen to the Holy Spirit within her, the Holy Spirit's voice that's speaking through her. It still seems very strange, right? That, that a son should be driven out because him and his brother are having fun, right? It's still very disturbing, in my opinion. So let's go into the Hebrew, and we can see even more reason why, this is such a problem, and why actually God sided with Sarah in basically kicking out Hagar and her son. Okay, it says, so this is verse 9, okay? Vatere, which means, and she saw, Sarah, so and Sarah saw, et ben Hagar, the son ben of Hagar, Hamitzrit, the Egyptian woman, Hamitzrit, Asher Yaleda, who she gave birth, leAvraham, to Abraham, Metzachek, making merry. Now, this it's translated as making merry here, but there are other ways to translate this verse, and I think the other ways would make more sense. So one is, Metzachek, making merry, having fun, right? Then that's how it seems to be translated here. The other translation that is very, very possible here is mocking. So she saw um, she saw uh, Ishmael basically mocking her son, being a mocker. So this would make a little bit more sense, right? So she saw basically that Ishmael was basically a bully, maybe, right? Mocking a mocker, mocking her son. Um, but of course, you'd think, maybe he just needs some discipline. But a third interpretation of this word in the Hebrew, metzachek, right here, is to have sexual relations. Have sexual relations. And we can see that in the verse, Genesis chapter 26, verse 8, where it says, here in the English, it says, Isaac was jesting with Rebekah, his wife. Now, this is not really a good translation, because Abimelech called Isaac and said, behold, she is your wife. Now, why would Abimelech say she is your wife just because he saw Isaac jesting with her? Well, this is much better translated as having like sexual. It's more like a sexual joking, it's like flirting, not just joking around. So this is why Abimelech realized that Isaac was really married to Rebekah, that Rebekah was his wife, not just his sister, as he had previously claimed, because the way that he was having fun with her was in a sexual manner. And now this interpretation, is one that, is one of the interpretations in Judaism, but for me it makes the most sense. Because why else would God tell Abraham to, kick out one of his sons and the mother of this son, if it were not for something as inappropriate as this sexual type of misconduct, this sexual, flirtatious type of activity going on. So this makes more sense with that particular translation. And this basically highlights the need for parents to be watchful of their children, to make sure that their children are not learning things that are inappropriate sexually, not only from their friends, but even from family members, and of course also from the media, maybe even from songs, different ways, different methods, different things that we have to guard our children from in this world growing up today. Even billboards and advertisements, they're just so over sexualized to a degree that it's not appropriate, that's not necessary, and that robs children of their innocence. The purpose for sex, in Judaism is for procreation, and it's also to establish a bond between a husband and wife. So when you don't save that act, that sexual act, to establish a holy bond within a holy union, as God intends, then it's a misuse of a God-given gift. It's like trampling on the Torah. It's like using a Bible or a Chumash as a doorstop or something like that. It's using, when you engage in sexual activity outside its holy purpose within a marriage, it is misusing something holy and misusing it as something profane. And so we have to guard our children, we have to guard ourselves, we have to guard our families of this type of behavior. And especially today in this world where all types of sexual sins are being normalized, one by one. you know, through the media, through laws, through schools, even. You know, they're trying to teach our children that all these different types of sins are okay, and you know, that's really not God's way. Visit my website at www.hebrewmime.com and join my network to receive the daily and weekly emails to learn more about Hebrew, Torah, and Judaism. I am also an herbalist and a health coach, so please visit me also at www.arukah.com, arukah.com, to learn more about holistic health and natural healing. The creator of heaven and earth is also the great physician, and he can heal everything from sickness and disease to broken hearts and homes.